All right, Shalom, Shalom, Yasharala. It's your brother Mashaya coming at y'all with a quick edifying video through the power and spirit of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Kakudash. So I want to go into this article. It says U.S. set to intercept Venezuela linked oil tanker that Russia has already claimed jurisdiction over. Salaki, let me read that again. It says U.S. set to intercept Venezuela linked oil tanker that Russia has already claimed jurisdiction over. So just more wars. I mean, more rumors of wars, and this stuff is just escalating each and every single day. So it's a blessing, and it's wild. Honestly, it's even wild that it's 2026. Like time is just flying by, flying by. Prophecy just popping off everywhere across the earth. But it says in a dramatic escalation of America's enforcement of sanctions tied to the Venezuelan oil trade, the United States is planning an operation to intercept a fleeing oil tanker that Russia has claimed jurisdiction over. According to multiple news reports, U.S. officials familiar with the matter indicate that American forces are preparing to pursue and potentially seize the vessel, a move that could ignite diplomatic tensions between Washington and Moscow, as well as broaden the scope of U.S. actions targeting Venezuelan oil exports. It says the tanker in question, previously known as Bella I, and since Christian Marinara Marinara, it says, has become the focal point of high-stakes standoff at sea after evading a U.S. naval blockade of sanctioned Venezuelan oil shipments in December. The vessel sailed into the wider Atlantic Ocean, reportedly changed its registry, and had its crew paint a Russian flag on its hull in an apparent bid to stave off American interdiction, a tactic that reflects both the ship's fugitive status and the complex web of sanctions enforcement. According to CNN's reporting, the U.S. is making plans to try to intercept a fleeing oil tanker that Russia has claimed ownership of, underscoring the delicate diplomatic backdrop to the operation. And you also gotta keep in mind, dealing with these other Edomites, like the Russians, Edomites that live in Germany, all these other Edomites, they would do this exact same thing if they had the same power that America has. Trust and believe that. So then talking about they holier than thou and they will never do what America does is complete BS, because they're Edomites and they will do the exact same thing if they were put in the position that America is, military wise and just overall being more powerful. But it's breaking down surely but slowly as we keep going throughout these days. But let me continue. It says, according to CNN's reporting, it says the U.S. is making plans to try to intercept a fleeing oil tanker that Russia had claimed ownership of, underscoring the delicate diplomatic backdrop to the operation. That wording highlights not just a routine seizure, but the potential for international controversy if U.S. forces move against a vessel that both sides may now view, at least superficially, as falling under Russian protection. This action is part of a broader campaign by the U.S. government to clamp down on what it characterizes as illicit oil shipments tied to the Venezuelan regime of Nicolas Maduro. The Trump administration's strategy has involved aggressive enforcement of sanctions and, at times, military interdictions at sea. It says officials have been tracking tankers linked to the Venezuelan oil industry for weeks and have sought to prevent revenue from flowing to sanctioned entities. Recent surge activity includes monitoring by U.S. surveillance aircraft of tankers attempting to evade the blockade and employing tactics such as name changes and route adjustments to avoid capture. Pentagon and State Department sources have portrayed this interception effort not only as an enforcement of sanctions, but as part of a larger pressure campaign against the Venezuelan government, which the U.S. has accused of criminal and narcotics-related activities. In related developments, the United States carried out a covert military operation that resulted in the capture of Nicolas Maduro, who was flown to the U.S. to face federal charges. That mission itself has significantly strained U.S.-Venezuela relations and intensified regional scrutiny of American military and economic actions. It says U.S. plans to intercept the tanker are poised to elevate international debate over maritime law and sovereignty. Russia's formal protests, over the pursuit, combined with the vessel's reflagging, raise questions about how far the U.S. will push its blockade enforcement and what legal or diplomatic repercussions might follow. It says the situation remains fluid, with U.S. policymakers signaling they see the interception as a necessary step in enforcing sanctions regimes and disrupting revenue streams to authoritarian and sanctioned networks. And you already know what precept I'm about to pull. Exodus chapter 15 verse 3, it says Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is a man of war. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is his name. And I also got one more precept. I believe it goes, I will send you to a hypocritical nation, I believe. Hypocritical nation. KJV. Alright, Isaiah chapter 10 verse 6. It says, I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath, Esau, will I give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. I want to pull this precept because these Edomites are a big hypocritical nation. Everything that they teach and everything that they say is hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy, because everything they tell everybody else not to do, they do every single time. But with that, Yasharallah, I pray our brothers and sisters were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Shalom.